PDP, yes, we may have internal crisis, but the issue is we are making conscious effort to make sure we're out of this crisis. It's just a matter of time. The last, I think about 2 weeks ago or thereabout, we had our NEC meeting, and we agreed to have another NEC meeting on the 23rd of this month, which is going to take place. Part of the crisis was just about the secretary of the party. And haven't realized that we agreed that Anyao should continue to be the secretary of PDP until when we get to convention. And by the time we got convention, I mean, whoever we decided to make the secretary of the party, so be it. So I don't see this as anything that we should worry about. How many months do we have to go to convention? It's just about 2 or 3 months. So 2-3 months, I don't think it's a long time that we cannot resolve some of these crises that PDP is facing. So we're ready, we're committed. And in fact, it's even better for some of these guys to go so that they can leave the party alone and we can have a very strong party going forward.
There are those who will say that the strength of the party at the center was responsible for some of the victories that they experienced in the state. You flipped the APC to PDP in 2023 in Zanfara. You secured over 377,000 votes. And with a weakened PDP at the center, isn't that a danger that you need to... There are those who think that Daud Alawa is a very smart, is a numbers man, a very smart person. Are you not reading the room?
It was this, Sharon, it was the same scenario that played in 2023 that led to the emergence of PDP, and I became the governor of Zanfara State with all the forces around, with everything that they had to do, and still nothing happened, and I became the governor of Zanfara State. The same scenario will play itself. And like I said, I'm not scared of anybody as far as Zanfara State is concerned.
Do you think
we're ready? No.
Do you think your party will be ready for a strong presidential competition in 2027 with what is going on?
We are ready. As a party, we are going to have a presidential candidate. It could be anybody. And one that is sorted out, we are ready to roll. You know, I mean, it's democracy, Sharon. We're ready. We're not scared of anybody. People leave party. People also join the party. While others are leaving, some are coming to the party. As we speak now in Zanfara State, I mean, you cannot imagine the number of people that are trying to join the PDP. So politics is local, and I believe there's nothing to fear about it. We're ready, and we'll face whoever squarely and make sure, you know, we get all our positions, whether it be governor or senators or whatever. I'm sure we're ready and we're equal to the task.
Quickly,
it's just a matter of time.
Quickly, because I need to take you to governance, because I hear about the fertilizers you are giving out to farmers, the billions of naira you spent offsetting of retiree issues and all that. I'd like to come there and some of the issues relating to security, but quickly.
That is true.
Give me an understanding. Sure. And I know that a few governors who are in the opposition party are friends to President Bola Tinubu, and they are not opposed to his politics. Are you one of them?
I'm also a friend to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And, you know, politics is a matter of understanding, and it has its issues here and there. But yes, I'm also a friend of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Very, very excellent relationship between the two of us. I've known him for over how many years now? So I don't have any issue with him. So it's just that we're in two different political parties. He's in APC, I'm in PDP.
But that means politically, are you able to support him at some point?
Well, let's see how events will unfold, Sharon. There's still time to 2027. We're just 2 years down the line. So I don't think politics should be the main issue right now. I think we should focus on governance rather than that.
Absolutely. Politics is also a pillar of governance. Because there are those who are thinking that your relationship and friendship with Bola Tinubu is being impeded by Mr. Matawale. Are you worried about that scenario?
Nothing has changed between myself and Mr. President Sheun. We still maintain a very, very good and cordial relationship. He is the president, and I respect him as a president.
All right.
And we work together. He is the president, I'm the governor. So I need the president in certain things. And so we work together. I don't have any issue.
Let me first and foremost ask you. I don't have any
issue whatsoever with Mr. President.
Let me take you to the governance issue now. Okay, but, well,
yes.
In your own opinion, in 2027, for the balance of power and for the unity of this country, where do you think the presidency of this country should come from?
Well, Sharon, like I said, it is too early for me to make comment because things keep changing by the day. So let's see how events would unfold. But I'm not opposed to anybody. It doesn't matter. What we need is good governance. Whoever is going to provide good governance for Nigerians and for the benefit of this country, I am for it.
So let me
irrespective
quickly,
of where it came from.
You shared there was a free fertilizer distribution today. Let's get the numbers.
Yes.
You are doing a lot of investment in agriculture. But the last time, if you remember,
Absolutely.
I asked you on this program that what would be your competitive edge as a state in terms of you cannot do all crops, all produce. It's not possible for you to put your hands in all produce. As far as agroeconomy is concerned, you've got to focus. And Zanfara, as soon as you mentioned Zanfara, you mentioned mining. I mean, you will remember mining and gold. But for the negative story about how gold is being explored in that state. But give me an understanding. What are the numbers? The free fertilizers, the investment that you are doing into agriculture. Give us the numbers. The contribution to the economy. How many kind of jobs are you hoping that this will create? What are the produce that you are hoping to get out of Zanfara to the rest of the world?
Okay, thank you very much, Shaun. I think we had this discussion the last time we spoke under this, this particular program. And let me also say this. Zanfara State is an agrarian economy. In fact, our motto is farming is our pride. Prior to even state creation, Zanfara State used to be the major producer of beans, sorghum, millet, and cash crops like groundnuts and cotton, to the extent that we export even to the neighboring country as far as Niger and Benin Republic is concerned. Now, having realized that our major comparative advantage is in the agriculture as well as mining. But right now we are concentrating on agriculture, and that's the main reason why we're making conscious about to make sure we support our farmers by providing certain implements that will make them very, very competitive and for them to be able to go back to farm not just for domestic consumption, but also for trading activities within the country and even export out of the country. We grow rice, we grow millet, we grow sorghum, we grow beans. I mean, name it. We have a very, very fertile land as far as agriculture is concerned. And that is why we're taking that advantage. And by the time we do that, 75% of our population are farmers. And the little that we can do is provide incentive for them to be able to farm effectively and be competitive. That is an avenue also for creating employment for our teeming youth. So that is why emphasis on agriculture is one reason why I'm sure you saw it live today that I've distributed over 100 trucks of fertilizer and is free to all our farmers across the state. It's going to go around the 14 local government and it's going to go around to the 147 wards in Zanfara State. Not just fertilizer, there's seedling, there's pesticide, insecticide, all these issues, all this we're giving to farmers free of charge. And it's a way of encouraging our farmers to go back to farm because the security situation in Zanfara State is improving by the day. Last year, a lot of farmers went to farm because there was relative security, and I expect more this time around because we're experiencing some relative peace as far as that is concerned, which will enable farmers to go back to farm and farm for not just for consumption, but also for commercial purposes. And I think this will go a long way in shaping the narratives and even changing this banditry issue, engage the people, engage the community to go back to farm. And I think if we're able to sustain this, that will be a long way. And if we're able to feed ourselves, I think it will also
Governor
help
Lawa,
in some of the security challenges the state is facing.
Governor Lawa,
Yes,
my worry is monitoring and impact of data from these efforts. How do we know the yields and what these will mean in terms of the trade from the state? And I mean, one thing that came to my mind when I saw the distribution of fertilizer is a report that came from the National Agricultural Seeds Council warning about improper and politicization of distribution of fertilizers, which they say is one of the factors that is responsible for worsening food insecurity in Nigeria, especially in the northwest of Nigeria, where food inflation has remained at over 30% year on year.
Well, having realized some of the challenges you just mentioned as far as distribution of this fertilizer is concerned and getting to the end users, yes, it's a factor. Data has always been an issue. But what we did ahead of time is to have for local governments and 114 data, to get the actual data of the farmers so that in the process of this distribution, we make sure it gets to the target audience. And that is the reason why I had to set up a committee that includes the traditional rulers, local government chairman, the police, DSL, civil defense, and every other person that matters within the community to make sure it gets to the right person. And if we're able to do that, because we have done that in the past, like last year, this first time we're distributing this fertilizer and other farm implements. We have done that last year, in fact, twice last year, during the dry season as well as the wet season. And so far what we did, it went around. And we realized the challenges and we came up with measures to mitigate some of these challenges as far as distribution is concerned. So I have absolute confidence that it will get to the target audience. And once that is done, like I said, it will improve the yield as far as agri-production is concerned in Zanfara State, because this is what we specialize in. Like I told you, some of the beans that I used to consume in Lagos all came from Karanamoda, because that is what Karanamoda specializes. And if you go to Gumi also, rice is being farmed. If you go to Maradun, we do so many crops. So I think it's just a matter of time. And with the new implement and technology that we're bringing in place, I think that will go a long way in shaping new agri in Zanfara State so that farmers can comfortably go to farm. They can produce much more than they consume, even something that can sustain them commercially.
Yeah, Governor, quickly, and I don't think that there is any debate about that conversation on the backlog of the gratuity to pensioners. It was a campaign promise. And today we understand that there's an announcement that all has been cleared. In March, you approved 4 billion naira. And now we understand that. Congratulations to the people of the state anyways. But my final question is in the area of security. I wanted to know, the ban on, you lifted the ban on mining in the state, isn't it? Sometimes in December.
Federal government lifted the ban on mining. Federal government lifted the ban on mining.
But are you happy with that?
True.
Are you happy with that?
Well, I'm happy.
So let me. So this is a perspective.
Happy. Haven't you seen some of the conscious effort we are putting in place to attract investors in terms of the mining sector in Zanfara State?
But what are you getting in the mining?
And what we're trying
what are you getting back? What is coming to your state in the mining? There's much of violence that.
No.
Are you getting any economic benefit? Because all of what is being done, the federal government
because the mining in the past was an informal sharing, and that is why we realize the importance of that. Is something that we have comparative advantage as far as Zanfara State is concerned in the area of mining, because we have the highest mineral deposit in the country. And that is why after the lifting of the ban by federal government, we made conscious effort to go and look for investors within the country and out of the country that will be able to come invest their money in Zanfara State. And if we're able to get it right and make it commercial and everything, believe me, we don't need to be waiting for FAC allocation, because we'll be very, very comfortable as far as revenue profile is concerned in the state. And that is why we are trying to formalize this sector. Let me also go back to what you said about the payment of gratuities and pension. Look, yes, it's part of my campaign promise, because when I went around, the major complaint I received was then, how are we going to get our money as far as pension is concerned? And I said, look, if by any chance I become the governor of Zanfara State, the first thing I will do, I'll take care of that pension and gratuity. It is important to know, Shaun, since 2011 to date, there has not been any payment of gratuity to pensioners. And honestly, if you see, their condition, I mean, no matter how inhuman you are, you will feel terrible and you feel really sorry as a responsible person. And it was what informed my decision after becoming, when I was sworn in as the governor, I decided to set up a committee to look into the arrears of pensioners, pension and gratuity. And the committee sat down and did a very fantastic job, identified the actual pensioners, and we started making the
Governor.
And I'm happy to tell you that yesterday I received the report after paying 13.6 billion naira from 2011 to 2023 to all the pensioners in Zanfara State. So we're not owing anybody.
Congratulations to the pensioners. But we need to go quickly.
Thank you.
If you have your way, would you make state police happen now?
In fact, if I have my way, I'll make it tomorrow. That is how ready I am. Because
I wish we can go further, but I'm totally out of time.
Protection Guard, what they're doing. Yeah, I will do that. If I have my time, I'll do it tomorrow, Shaun.
Governor Daud Alawal, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. I appreciate it. And all the best in your governance work in Zanfara State.
Thank you very much, Shaun.
Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. We take a break, everyone. But when we return, it's about 2027 and the barrage of competition and war against the possible re-election of Bola Tinubu and the APC. But I will be joined by Mr. Reno Omokri, a former presidential aide and an author. Everyone for staying with us. Let's now dig into issues that have trailed interviews on this program in the past few days, especially the one relating to the former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, the one involving the minister of the FCT, and afterwards the one with Mr. Peter Obi. Tonight I'm being joined by a supporter of Bola Tinubu government and an author and the former presidential aide, Reno Omokri, who's live for us here in Abuja. It's a pleasure having you join us.
Thank you, Shaun.
Your usual Ashoke and Nigerian attire.
Well, that's what I do. 100% of the time I dress in made in Nigeria.
I see that you, as soon as you saw the interview with Mr. Peter Obi, you were very uncomfortable and you thought that there were a lot of things that you don't agree with. But it does look, there are a lot of people who think that Peter Obi riled you up. And the only reason is because you know that Peter Obi could be a winning factor in 2027. Why does Peter Obi become a problem to you whenever you hear his name?
That's not true. He doesn't rile me up. I rile him up, but he doesn't rile me up. The reason why I had to come here, I had to leave California and come here, is because I'm a patriot. Peter Obi lied, and he lied. There are foreign direct investors who are watching your program and who are making investment decisions not to come to Nigeria. There are foreign investors in Nigeria who are making investment decisions to leave Nigeria because of the lies he told. One of the lies that he told is that the president has borrowed more than the administrations of Yaradua, President Jonathan and Buhari put together, and that's just a blatant lie. I have here with me from the Debt Management Office, and Nigerians who are watching, they can actually go to dmo.gov.ng, or you can go to Google and just put Debt Management Office, Nigeria State of Indebtedness 2015. As of 2015, this is a PDF document from the Debt Management Office. Nigeria was owing a total of $63 billion. That's it here. I don't know if your camera can catch it. Now, when Buhari was leaving office, this is from the Debt Management Office, this is not from me. The Debt Management Office was set up by law. We've got people who are apolitical there. They are not members of the PDP, APC, or ADC. Buhari left office, and this is how much we are owing. On the last day of Buhari leaving office, $113 billion. Now, as of today, this is from the Debt Management Office, our debt has gone from $113 billion to $97 billion, meaning that Bola Tinubu has reduced our debt by over $14 billion. We should be appreciating this man. Yet, Peter Obi came here and lied to the Nigerian people. What did he do? Very manipulatively. He took the debts and then he now translated them into naira to make it look like the debts have increased. Because don't forget, the naira has been floated. So today, the naira is trading at 1,531 naira to the dollar. So when you now multiply that by what we're owing today, which is $97 billion, it looks as if our debt has gone up in naira value. But don't forget, these were debts that were taken in dollars, mostly euro bonds, debts from China, France, and from the Bretton Woods institution. Peter Obi came here and lied, and he told more lies than that. He also lied concerning Nnamdi Kanu. He said... Just
for a moment, let's stay on the debt issue.
Yes.
Our debt as it stands in 2015, in 2015 actually, the debt was around 12 trillion. This is the total of foreign and local debts.
Yes.
But as of end of 2024, our debt has risen to 138 trillion. Is that right?
That is right.
Do you agree with that figure?
That is correct.
So it then means that by April 2025, there are indications that Nigeria's total debt is of 162 trillion naira. Now, if you look at it, it is a fact that we added a bit of debt.
No,
from 2023 and 2025.
No, that's not accurate. You have to understand this. This is economics, and I have a master's in international banking and finance law from England. Let me explain it to you. I'm going to give you and the public a little education on this. When you're taking a debt, from, for example, a Eurobond debt or from China, it's in dollars. It's not in naira. So that debt is stable. Now, you have the naira is floated. So because the naira is floated, the naira is not stable because it's being driven by the laws of demand and supply. So in 2015, when our debt was 12 trillion naira, the value of the naira, it was pegged at 196 naira. So when you multiply that, that's why you get 12 trillion. If you take that same amount of money and multiply it by today's value of the naira, which is 1,531, it's not going to be 12 trillion. It's going to be something like maybe about 100 billion. Something close to that. So when you're taking General Buhari's debt, when he left office, it was $113 billion. Now, you're not multiplying it by what it was today. You're multiplying it then to get that figure by what the value of the naira was then, which was between 440 and eventually about close to 700. And that's how you got that amount. Today, the naira is 1,531 naira. So when you multiply that, the dollar amount, which is 97 billion, multiplied by that, it makes it seem as if our debt has exploded.
Are you saying that Tinubu government did not borrow any money?
Tinubu government has borrowed money, but they've also repaid money. So, for example, we were owing the IMF. We are no longer owing the IMF at all. What we are actually paying to the IMF right now is what they call drawing rights. A drawing right is just like if you have a MasterCard. If you have a MasterCard, even if you pay your American Express or your MasterCard off, you're still going to be paying a yearly annual fee as a member. So our total indebtedness to the IMF has been paid, and it's actually there on the IMF's...
So the question that a lot of people will be asking is that you want to paint it as though Tinubu government is not getting any loan, but they are actually.
Yeah, they're getting loan. It's just like what the governor of Zanfara said to you. People are leaving the PDP. People are joining the PDP. Yes, this government is taking loans, and this government is also paying loans. So the government is paying more loans than they are taking. That is why our debt has reduced.
So let's ask ourselves a question. Just for a moment. Okay. Let's ask ourselves a question. What currency do we produce?
What currency?
In Nigeria, in what currency do we produce?
We produce in the naira.
In naira.
Yeah.
So if we are going to convert and pay any debt, are we not going to take that same naira to convert it to dollar to pay our debts?
That doesn't make sense. If you're taking a domestic debt, then that's when that happens, because you're taking a domestic debt in naira.
But when you are paying, whichever currency that you take the debt, you are paying in that currency.
Yes.
But so, I am saying to you, your earnings is mostly in what? In your local currency. Well, your wealth.
If you look at our earnings, that's not quite accurate. You see, you have to understand, a lot of people don't realize this. Only 15% of Nigeria's GDP is oil and gas. However, oil and gas is more than about maybe something like 75% of our foreign exchange earnings. So we are earning in dollars. For example, even if you're going to the port, the Nigerian Ports Authority, the Nigerian Ports Authority is earning in dollars. So we have a lot, we're earning in dollars. But the point I'm trying to make, Seun, let's not complicate things for your audience. If you borrow from a Nigerian bank in Naira, you pay back in Naira. If you borrow from the Eurobond or from China or from France or from the Bretton Woods institutions in dollars, you pay back in dollars. As at today, our total indebtedness has actually reduced. It has reduced from $113 billion to $97 billion. Peter Obi came to your program and lied. That was a lie. It was an economic sabotage to Nigeria. And the man knew this. If he did not know that, that means he's ignorant, and that means that he shouldn't be running for office. He also told other lies. He told lies about Nnamdi Kanu. He was asked a question by you, and he said...
I don't want us to go yet away from economy.
Okay.
The economy of this country, the productivity level of this country, there are major levels of the economy that are being weakened or troubled. One is the capacity of production, which inflation and the rest, all major indices of our economy are in the negative.
That's not true.
I said major of our economy indices are in the negative.
Well, that's not true again.
Okay.
I mean, I did in fact. I don't deal in opinion.
So let's look at it. What are your unemployment figures?
Well, the unemployment figures in Nigeria has actually improved. Now, please, allow me to land. Okay. But the major thing you want to talk about, you talked about production. We are not talking about now. When you're talking about production, in Nigeria, we have a surplus of $14.1 billion. That has never happened before. What that means is that we are now exporting more than importing. That is a major plus. Not just that, we had a 3.84 GDP growth rate last year. When did we have that? We had 2 recessions under Buhari. Have we had a recession now? And not just that, if you look at it now steadily, the inflation rate has been reducing. That's because the policies put by this administration are working.
After the rebasing.
Yeah, no, the rebasing has not happened. The rebasing is going to happen. I think the rebasing is coming up next week, they said.
But what was the inflation rate when Bola Tinubu got into office and now?
Well, the inflation rate when Bola Tinubu got into office was quite high under Buhari. I think what you're trying to talk about was the inflation rate under Jonathan, which was at single digits. So let us focus on production, because you talked about production. The best factor to gauge production is your trade surplus, because that's what is that's what.
So in your own view, you think that the economy is doing better under Bola Tinubu?
It's not on my own view. I'm talking about the facts. The facts are there. We are exporting.
Where were we pre-Bola Tinubu and now?
Yeah, pre-Bola Tinubu and now, our debts have reduced, our production has increased. The all-share index of the Nigerian Stock Exchange has hit 3 times all-time high. As a matter of fact, last year, we overtook Argentina as the most profitable stock market in the whole world. Right now, we are the 2nd most profitable stock market in Africa after Zimbabwe.
What do you say to our exchange rate?
Our exchange, and see, that is the thing. That is a form of the economic illiteracy of a lot of people. Our exchange rate has never been 196 or 400 naira. At that time, our exchange rate was being subsidized. People make the mistake. They forget that the subsidy on the naira was actually higher than the subsidy on fuel. We were spending about $1 billion every month on fuel, but we were spending $1.5 billion every month to subsidize the naira. And that was what was keeping the naira at that rate. It was not the real value of the naira. When Bola Tinubu came in, he said, no, that cannot happen, because we were not using that subsidized naira to do things that were going to be valuable for the economy.
Please let me land. Mr. Omokri.
No, please let me land, please. We are using that, we were frittering it away. So he said, this is what happens in America, this is what happens in the United Kingdom. We are going to float the currency and allow the laws of demand and supply determine the naira rate. That is not devaluation, that is flotation. Devaluation is when, like what happened in Egypt, you peg your currency at, say, maybe 200 Egyptian pounds to $1. And then you come out and say, okay, no, I'm going to now peg it at 400. That is devaluation. What happened in Nigeria is flotation. And that is now, the market is now determining the naira's value.
So in your own analysis, and you say that the economy has done better under President Bola Tinubu in the last 2 years, but what happens to the purchasing power of the average person? What happens to the livelihoods of the average person? What happens to the ability of the person to be able to feed and transport?
Well, should we continue to go into debt because we want to now start to give our people an artificial luxury? We were borrowing so much under General Buhari. Don't forget, the reason why Godwin Emefiele is in jail is because we took a loan of 28 well, he's in jail. That's why I didn't say prison. There's a difference. When you're under trial, they put you in jail. When you have been convicted, you go to prison. There is a reason why Godwin Emefiele is in jail, because he took loans of 28 trillion naira without informing the National Assembly. What were they using that money to do? They were using that money to artificially inflate the value of the naira. And so we were living in a fool's paradise. Bola Tinubu has taken that away, and now we are now living at our own means. So we cannot be borrowing because we want to give our people food. We have to produce, and that's why we are now producing now, because exports are going up. Imports are reducing. We now have, like I said before, a $14.1 billion straight surplus.
What about the impression on the average person? That's the question I asked you.
Yeah, the thing is, the impression on the average person is this: we have to look inward. Look at me.
And continue to suffer.
No.
The person that is in pain.
Please, allow me answer your question. Allow me answer your question. We have to look inwards. Look at me. Everything I'm wearing from head to toe is made in Nigeria. That's good for our economy. Not taking $4 billion. To that we are a country. One of the world's largest proven oil and gas reserves. But Venezuela is a basket case. We were going that way if not for Bola Tinubu, who said, no, we cannot keep on borrowing because we want to please people. We have to live. Of course, Bola Tinubu. Look, everything that Bola Tinubu is doing are the things that both Peter Obi and Waziri Atiku said they were going to do. They said they were going to remove fuel subsidy. In fact, Peter Obi, and I've got the tape, you can watch it on my social media platform. He said, I'm going to remove fuel subsidy immediately. The same thing that Waziri Atiku said. Bola Tinubu has done it. Both of them said they were going to float the naira. Bola Tinubu has done it. Both of them said they were going to devolve power from the federal to the local government. Bola Tinubu has done it.
But why does it look like Bola Tinubu is losing popularity?
Listen, that is always the case in Nigeria. The best predictor of the future is the past. In every administration, where you have the two-way mark of your first term, when people are feeling the effects of your reform, they're going to have that kind of feeling. But by the time the government gets to the three-way mark, this is history. It happened to General Obasanjo. It happened to, because Yar'Adua did not have that because of the sickness. It happened to President Jonathan. It happened to Buhari, even worse than is happening to Bola Tinubu. And we are beginning to see things are getting better. Look, your governor was talking about it. The agricultural input of Nigeria has improved. So things are going to get better. Listen, can I say this? Nigeria is not going to get to El Dorado overnight, but we are going to get there over time.
So let me ask you.
Please, I'd like to talk about the lie that Peter Obi said about Nnamdi Kanu, because it was a dangerous lie.
What upset you about that?
He said, no, I mean, I wasn't upset. It was the lie. He said that the trial of Nnamdi Kanu does not make sense. Listen, I played you a video which we cannot play because of the NBC. Can you testify that you heard the video? Can you tell your audience?
Yeah, I heard the video.
Now, you heard him telling his supporters to kill policemen, to kill soldiers, to burn down Lagos. After he gave that video, do you know how many police and how many soldiers have died in the southeast? Over 50. As a matter of fact, there was a couple, an army couple, you know, her name was Gloria Matthews, her husband was Linus. They were killed and beheaded in Imo. Do you know who killed Ahmed Gulak in Imo? Who killed Harira Jibril with her 4 underage children? 160 police stations were shut down in the southeast. Why? Because IPOB, UGM, unknown gunmen, and ESN, they attacked them. They killed over 24 policemen. And then you are saying that the trial of a person who ordered this does not make sense. Look, as I speak to you right now, Finland is trying Simon Ekpa. Simon Ekpa is not even as guilty as Nnamdi Kanu. He has not done a half of what Nnamdi Kanu has done. Is Peter Obi going to tell the Finnish government that the trial...
Nnamdi Kanu is still not found guilty yet because he's facing trial?
Yes, but I can give my opinion. This is not fact. This is an opinion. Is Peter Obi going to tell the Finnish government that the trial of Simon Ekpa does not make sense? Look, Peter Obi gives an opinion on everything that happens in Nigeria, but he did not talk about the trial of Simon Ekpa. He did not condemn it. He did not condemn what Simon Ekpa did. So this man has separatist tendencies. He has never condemned the Monday sit at home. In fact, when he goes to Anambra, he obeys it. Look, if you are a policeman, if you are a soldier, is this the kind of commander-in-chief that you want to have? Somebody who says that a person who ordered the killing of your brothers in arms, his trial does not make sense? No. And then he lied about the convoy. He said that he'd never seen a presidential convoy with ambulances. I went on profiles, I put videos of President Trump's convoy with at least 2 ambulances, of the President Putin's convoy with at least 2 ambulances. He likes Indonesia. He went to Indonesia. I put videos of the president of Indonesia with 2 ambulances. Even Sierra Leone, that tiny country, the president moves with 2 ambulances.
But does it make sense for us to have ambulances on the convoy?
Of course,
but there
it
are no
makes sense.
ambulances in the hospital where they need them?
Listen to this, we are a poor country that is trying to get better. We cannot have everything at once. But listen, the only president that we had in Nigeria that did not have a convoy, his name was General Murtala Mohammed. What happened? He was killed on February 13, 1976. Now, the mistake a lot of people make is that Bukasinka Diga just shot Murtala Mohammed and went away. No, when he shot Murtala Mohammed, he did Murtala Mohammed. He left. And
we need to close now.
Okay.
So you're going to pick Atiku Abubakar over Bola Tinubu in 2027?
I'm going to pick Bola Tinubu, and I've said it there. If an election is being held today, and the candidates are Peter Obi, Waziri Atiku Abubakar, and President Bola Tinubu, not only will I vote for President Bola Tinubu, I will galvanize support. I will bring money from my own pocket, and I will campaign for Bola Tinubu because he is doing what we in the People's Democratic Party said we're going to do. 4 things: devolve power from the federal to the local government, float the naira, remove fuel subsidy, and give student loans. Bola Tinubu is a transformational leader.
Tinubu loses the election in 2027, what would you do?
Look, I have a successful business. I have a successful life. This year alone, I've traveled to how many countries? I will keep on doing what I'm doing. Look, I am a patriot. I came here from California because somebody was undermining my country. I am a man of means. I do not depend on the government. So if Bola Tinubu is no longer president and another person is president, if the president is not doing what I believe that he ought to be doing, just as I fought Buhari, I will fight that person.
All right. Randall Mokri is an author and a former presidential aide. Thank you so much indeed. And I wish you a safe journey in all your travels.
Thank you very much for having me, Sean.
I appreciate it.
God bless you.
Thank you so much. And that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Akimale. God bless Nigeria.
Okay, Sean,